I think it was last week. So what's going to happen that I'm going to asking Namita a couple of questions based upon the what you can see on the screen. And after that, you guys are also going to be able to ask questions. And in the meanwhile, if you have any question while I am interviewing her, you can also put the question into the chat. But if you have a question, I will say, please raise your hand. So one by one, we can take turns. In this way, we can make it more controlled instead of going into the chaos mode. So, Namita, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? How are you all doing? I'm happy.
I think we are eagerly waiting for your feedback because this exam is very, very challenging. So I'm glad you have time to come here and talk to us about your experience. So let's take the first thing. So when was the exam exactly? So what was the exam date?
I gave the exam on 8th of April.
Okay.
Yeah, and I did exam at home. I did
Good.
not go to the center. So before booking the exam, I did my R&D, how much time it will take me to set up everything, set up my room. And 2 nights before, I reached out to PMI tech support team and reached out to them and asked the questions like, what am I allowed? Because most of the things, though, you set up at home but was not mentioned,
Right.
like you will not be allowed with a pen or a paper, which generally we get in the center, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So keeping all those in mind, I kept my room clean. I kept my area where I'm, my table, I would say, clean and ready for the exam. Kept my laptop, my internet connection the same. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, even though you run the test on the system test, there is something which you have to run before
Mm-hmm.
booking for at-home exam. So even though I already did it. I had to do it again on the day of exam.
Mm-hmm.
So PMI already asked you to appear 30 minutes before and start doing all this. But in my personal experience, I started facing some issue there. So I started panicking. What if I
Yeah,
am late for the exam? So I would suggest everyone, though EPMI ask you 30 minutes before, you go like 45 minutes before and run all the system test again. And yeah,
okay.
so
Just
that
give me a
you'll be
second
ready.
here.
And yeah,
Um,
everyone. Uh,
Comment earlier. So one quick question. So there were like no test centers nearby, or why you decided to do it at home?
I just decided to do it at home because there is a center nearby. Then I was like, oh, if I have to book, I have to book like to get the date and the time which I want will not be flexible as at homes you can get easily.
Mhm.
Uh, Only that
Looking
was
back,
the reason.
you still think, I mean, looking back, you say that you still wanted to do it at home, if or you kind of saying that, no, let's go to the test center.
They both have their own, I think, um, pros and cons. I would still go for home because I was really comfortable at home
Okay.
and I had the quiet space to myself, like
Okay.
nobody else was at home. So I was more comfortable.
That's
But if
good.
you have kids, you have everybody at home at that time, I would suggest please go to the center because they will not allow any kind of noise coming in the background. Even though you close the door, sometimes the noise comes across the room.
Mm.
And yeah,
And that is interesting. So in that case, how you managed to do the breaks, for example, if you did the exam at home?
oh, so the breaks you cannot manage. Breaks is managed by the PMI, the exam prorater, or whoever was there.
Okay.
That person will decide when you have to take the test, when you will get the break. This reminds me because I drank a lot of coffee and water in the morning and sat for the exam directly. And
Okay.
I did not realize I cannot go by my own. So I have to wait for them to give me a break so that I can go relieve myself. And it was really one point which I was thinking I should have done maybe more calculated way and food because I was hungry till 4:30. It was 4 like 5 hours. It extended to be like 5 hours because you're just sitting before the exam
Mm-hmm.
and doing stuff. So all those things took a lot of time. By the end of the exam, I started feeling really hungry and was not focusing. So I would suggest all of you, I mean, when you get the break, if you're taking the exam from home, see in that, I mean, 10 minutes is more than enough, I would say, but I was just like doing nothing. I was just sitting quietly and just focusing what all things I was like
Huh?
taking on my head, what I can think, what I cannot think, what I can revise in my head, and what answers I have given. All those I was just thinking. I was not thinking about food or anything, but it backfired. I
Uh-huh,
would
uh-huh.
suggest, yeah,
All
you'll
right,
get
so,
two
so
minutes
so the
break.
lessons learned, sorry to jump in. So lessons learned is that you make sure you take the breaks,
Yeah.
because the breaks will be there. Now, in terms of the break, so that is also like the same in if you go, I mean, so you had the break after like 60 questions, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
It was after 60 questions. So I thought I can take it before that, but it was after 60 questions. They gave 10 minutes break, and it was
Perfect.
not counted in your
Yeah.
whole.
But that's the same thing as if you go to test center. So that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So staying with the remaining part. So in terms of preparation materials, what preparation materials you had towards the PMP?
So I had all the books, PMP 6, 7. So I did not go through everything, but I went through, as you suggested in your session when I was taking it with you every Tuesday before, that Andrew Ramdayal course in on Udemy. I went through it twice. I went through his material. Then I went through Pimbox 7. Uh,
Mhm.
and I did all the questions, whatever I can find on like latest version on the internet
Yeah.
or on the PMI website. So those were really helpful, especially the one which Andrew has and PMI has. All those really help. Uh, and yeah, all those I did.
That's good
As
news. That's good news. And
I did not go through Pimbox 6. It's just Pimbox 7 I read. That too
okay.
was like in a 120 speed, like very fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think one thing which is I forgot to ask you here is that so when did you started the exam preparation?
Exam preparation, I started March. Actually, to be very honest, I started watching Andrew's video from January itself, but I was like, I had this, I downloaded the Udemy app in my phone and I was watching it on the go. Like if I'm traveling somewhere, if I'm exercising, I was just watching it, but not like paying any like not concentrating on it. So I have to do it again in March, and like with the concentration, with a dedicated time, 4 hours or 2 hours, I'm going to sit and I'm going to do only study, and I'm going to be focused. I'm going to listen what he's saying. I'm going to understand what he's saying, why is he saying that, and how it is connected to our like
Uh-huh.
project management, how I
So,
can
so
how I
Namita,
can, yeah.
so if I understand correctly, so you had the material earlier, you started
Mhm.
on and off, but
Mhm.
like from March you become very committed to do it
Yeah.
by the April 8th, right?
Yes.
Okay, so can we say that you kind of considered started to look into like February then or
Yeah, you
early
can
then?
say, but yeah, it was again on and off, very on and off,
Okay.
considering my schedule is like really challenging at that time. Now I have little free time, so it was really challenging
Oh,
in
I
February,
see.
March. So, but still, I think I gave myself that I have to give the exam and I have booked the date. Now I cannot move it and I have to give the exam anyway.
Uh-huh.
So,
So in that case, how many days you studied from technically from March onwards?
yeah,
How
I
many days?
studied like only Saturday, Sunday was like family day. I was not studying, but this whole
So
March
five
month,
days a week?
yeah, 5 days a week.
5 days a week. And what was the duration on each study day?
Yeah, minimum 4 hours.
Wow. And how did you manage that?
Yeah, thankfully my child goes to bed really early.
Okay.
It gives me a lot of time at night. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Well, I would say that was a big race, and if I mean you remember that when you attended on a study group, I keep telling anyone, I mean 8 weeks, I would say good 5 days, which you did as well, very well done. But I would say good 2 hours on each study day in a course of an 8 weeks is more manageable than going into that hardcore because it's really hard to really dedicate 4 times each day. But I mean you did it. That's very awesome.
Yeah.
And when did you join the study group, by the way?
Oh, I just when I was planning. I was just planning at that time. I went to LinkedIn and said PMP success and all that. So you somehow popped up, and I saw you're doing a free uh, course every Tuesday. So I was like, maybe this can help me. And I reached out to you and I went to your session, and then I started joining every Tuesday. And I felt that though I will not take the name, but
Mhm.
there's very famous course people are running all over the world. That training institute is across the world, and now I have taken the training from them to get my 35 hours of PDO before I met you.
Right.
They, in fact, they did not tell me the technique which I got, or maybe I was enlightened to in your training session on your weekly meeting, where how to spatially read the question, how to understand what answer will be correct. Even sometime I use that in all of my exams. Um, now because
Mhm. Mhm.
sometimes even though you studied a lot, I had the questions which I didn't know the answer of, but I started eliminating which will not be the answer in any way. And
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
what?
yeah.
I was reaching out to the right answer when I was practicing the test. So I was reaching out to the right answer, and I was like, yeah, this is the best technique I can use, and this is what I learned from the study group. So I
Hmm.
think that was a big takeaway from the study group. Yeah, and of course that um, PMP. What one more thing you suggest? I am
Yeah.
totally forgetting about that. Yeah. So
Well, let me say that that's good to hear.
exam
And I
content
guess
outline.
you also been, part of when other people came into this session, they shared their success story. Now you sharing your success story. So I always like to relate to that, how, we're closing this loop technically, that anyone who's here hearing someone else, and then they also coming here and sharing their experience. So I would say that's for me, that's the most rewarding thing. And, if some of you might see on my LinkedIn headline, and it might sound, like a bit of a clickbait, but I'm really felt like that I'm on a mission to help as many people as possible. When I prepared, there was like no interest group, no study group I can join. I was more afraid on, either LinkedIn or Facebook, somebody will roast me if I put a question out there. But this is the platform. We're not, discussing anything else. We talk about only the PMP, how we can make sure that you can pass. That's why freely we can talk about other people's products here as well. I'm not get mentioned and not get paid to mention Andrew's products here, but I mean that's how we all kind of learn from each other. And because this can be very, a lonely path, that like, so many materials, like you felt like overwhelmed many times, you having questions what to do, but at least here's the study group when you can ask your questions, and I'm glad that this is also helping you to pass the exam.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Now, in terms of, and thank you for the compliment, by the way, in terms of your passing score, so how was your passing score before in terms of, full mock exam? What was the highest, for example?
Oh, 75% I could do.
Okay.
So that's when I got the confidence that, yeah, I think that's a good score and I can go for it.
Hmm.
But before that, I was getting only 60, or like 60 and 65 was where I was getting stuck.
Right. And then when did you reach the 75%? How close to the exam? Very close or?
Yeah, very close, like 2, 3 days before,
Wow. Okay.
like
Okay.
neck to neck.
But in that case, it's definitely something like, I keep mentioning to everyone that you need to score as high as you can, because that is really the recipe of kind of success. And, even, what you mentioned, the 75% is very much, proving that. So yeah, that's a good information. In terms of lessons learned, so I captured that if you do it at home, make sure that the room is clean. So you're not, cleaning the room in 5 minutes before the exam and you kind of vanish everything from the desk and stuff like that. Make sure you have the breaks. Any other lessons learned you suggest to the guys on the call, which will be helpful for them?
Ask questions. I mean, there will be a chat box if you have any question not related to the uh, questions which you're getting in exam, but like, do I need to submit my exam because do can I go back and all that before taking the break? how it is going to be. I was talking to in the chat bot. There was in between the exam, if something was popping up in my head and it's giving me anxiety, I was just asking them if I can do so and so, and they were like, yeah, or yes, or no. And I was like, okay, I'm not supposed to do that, so I didn't do it. And
Okay.
if I'm supposed to do it, so I just like
Well, I
took
would
it.
say that's a good point, because more or less I think PMI believes that the description or explanation of how to expect, let's say, an online exam to be run. I mean, I think they are all going with the assumption that nobody will have any question for them. But yeah, take the lead. If you have to ask question, yeah, I agree that you can definitely, go and ping PMI just to make sure that they are also feeling the nudge how things are going with this.
Yeah, because my test, when I get booked for the exam, nowhere it was mentioned that you're not allowed to have a pen or a paper. So I just prepared myself a pen and paper. And then I asked, reached out to PMI just to clear my doubt. And they said, no, it's not allowed. And I said, it's not mentioned in there. And they're like, no, it's not allowed. Please don't take it and keep it clean and all that. They gave me the right instruction and I followed
Right.
that. And that's what like helped
Mhm.
me. It was pretty easy though, setting up everything. It was really, really easy. I would
And in terms of the
suggest.
questions, they were difficult. I know that, okay, obviously you cannot share anything, but if they were, let's say, difficult comparing, let's say, the questions you went against
Yes,
prior to the exam.
yes, they were really even especially the process part. Um, Process section was really tough, like really tricky. Even though I always think that I have done the waterfall module all my life and I'm very good with the processes, those questions were tricky. It was not, I wouldn't say tough, but very tricky. They will like, even though you were trying to eliminate the answer, one or two answers you could like come up with,
Mm-hmm.
you were right. Then that's where I started losing my time. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, and at the end, I had 5 minutes left with
Okay.
I think seven, 8 questions. So I
Wow.
have to read fast. I have to read fast and answer, fast and answer.
And in terms of calculation questions, there were a lot of them.
Sorry.
Calculation questions. You had lots of calculation questions.
Mm, I didn't understand your question. Sorry.
Do you have? Did you had lots of calculation questions on the exam?
Yeah, mm, I'm still not understanding what you're saying. I'm sorry. Can you type it for me?
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Any other lessons that you can think of?
Oh no, nothing as of now. I think these are the lesson learned I took.
Okay.
Yeah.
Questions on the exam. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Well, again, I would say congratulations. I mean, this was
Oh
a heck of
no,
a journey.
no, there was no zero calculation question, not even one. Or
Wow. Okay.
yeah, not even one.
You see, and I keep telling anyone, like, if do not be stuck with that worst case scenario, you answer A and you move on. That's good. Wow. Good. Now, this is to all of you on the call. If you have any questions towards Namita, now feel free to raise your hand or put it into the chat. Now it's time for you guys also to asking a question about her, how she prepared, any other specific question regarding, doing it at home or the learning materials, like how these 4 hours kind of fold out. Yeah, feel free to do that. Yeah, there is one question there. Yeah, Memeli, you can go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. One quick question.
Yeah.
How many times? First, before I ask my question, thank you very much for sharing your experience. This is really helpful. I appreciate you coming here to share this with us. My question: how many times did you have to get a mark of 75% on practice for you to feel confident?
Oh, I was pretty confident, but I think 60% was putting me in doubt. So I got twice, not more than that, 75%. And I was like, yeah, I'm good to go because um, that's all I think that's again one thing which I took from the study group and Andrew Ramdale's course, that if you start doubting yourself, it's not going to work. And at the same time, don't be overconfident, but you should know that you're clear on the um, what you studied, and little bit, like we all say we have agile mindset, but where as a agile project manager you are supposed to help the team and where you're not supposed to help the team, the difference we have to find out, right? So
Yeah.
you should know, when you're studying, take study all the small stuff very carefully, find out the differences. That is what helped me, I think. And I knew I'm doing everything is right, but there was like something which I thought maybe is not good, and I studied again the PMBOK 7 for one more time, and then I gave exam, so I was reaching 75 percent.
Thank you.
Okay. There's also one question into the chat, Namita. What are your thoughts around registering for the PMI study halls, since they are the ones who create the ones? Okay, so any thoughts on that? Any feedback?
Oh, I could not register for the PMI study hall though, so I have no, no, nothing to say about it. I did not register with them.
Okay, I understand. Okay. Wow. All right. So I would say that I don't have any other question. I mean, I think we were able to kind of summarize with your lessons learned as well. But what advice you would like to give to the people who are, I don't know, like 4 weeks away from the exam? They are getting anxious that the test scores are not improving. Now, what lessons learned you want to give them, or what advice you want to give them?
Well, I would say be confident. Don't worry. You're studying already, and you guys are like amazing PMs already. You know what you're doing. But just don't think about what you're doing. Just think about PMI, what they think, what they approach. And because I think this is what I was doing wrong when I was answering the question initially. I was putting my own learning in the answers, but then I have to like focus PMI way of answering and PMI way of thinking, or like there's some things which only by the books we say sometimes, right? So we have to go by that here most of the time. And yeah, I went through exam content outline
Outside?
of the PMI. Uh, so that helped also a lot. And that was like, that clarified a lot of doubts which I was having while answering. So I would suggest you guys do that too. That's all. I mean, be confident. 4 weeks is like more than enough. And I had a pretty busy schedule, and on and off, I was studying. Still, I can do it. I'm pretty sure you all can do it.
Yeah, and I think I'm pretty sure about that. And yeah, thank you for that kind of feedback, itself, and Namita to coming in. Congratulations again. This is huge. Still, I would say that there are 1.7 million PMPs around the globe, but the need is very much more. So I would say that you need to be engaged and move forward. And I think having that PMP, that's a clear demonstration towards the career path. And I think we're entering into a job market or a climate where more and more companies are asking for the PMP, and simply because they know what to expect from a PMP. They know that you are already a educated project manager. You speak in the same language. They understand the value, and simply this is just saving them a hell lot of time and energy. And that's why I would say you see so many PMPs on that front. So very well done. Congratulations. I mean, if you can stay around for another, 5-10 minutes. If somebody might have a question, they can put it into the chat. I think that would be great. Also, I put a little profile picture of you from LinkedIn, if you don't mind. So I guess people can also reach out to you and asking any specific questions towards PMP, right?
Yes, I'm fine with it. You guys can reach out to me whenever possible, and I can help you in any way I can.
Now,
Yeah.
this is amazing. This is amazing. So thank you very much, Namita, to joining to this session and sharing your experience. I think it is very, very beneficial for us. Again, lots of time, went into this. Now you technically have so much free time now. I'm not sure that's what's the plan. You're picking up a new hobby or something, but you're realizing 4 hours every day now can spend something else. This is great. And I think in terms of the project management career, this is where all of us can go into a very more specific path of going into agile, going into business analysis or risk or scheduling or all the others. And I would say you still have plenty of time to discuss or think about it. What's the next step? Because the PMP is definitely, let's say, give you the boost on the career for a few years in advance. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kaveh. I'm really
You're
happy.
very welcome. Thank you very much, and have a lovely rest of the day.
You too.
All right. This was so great. After this type of kind of quick interviews, I already feel very pumped up, in the end that, we're reaching the objective. That's why we have the study group. That's why this is session 99, because people are passing and they're sharing the experience as well. Also into the chat, there are a couple of comments as well. Also, I think one person was asking for a simulator now. If you joined just now, I'm still having the offer of giving you a stage of practicing of your knowledge, which means that you can go ahead and use this link to use my simulator as well. This will definitely test your understanding. Again, if you're not able to score 75%, you still need to go back and practice more. So that's why I'm just wanted to give you guys a bit of a reality check through my world, which is using my simulator. Feel free to do that. I put the link into the chat, so that's something which you can use. Also, with Namita, we had so she didn't mention, I didn't forget to ask her that we had a one-on-one call as well earlier, where we talked about exam preparation strategies. So that's something you can also take the advantage. I'm not asking anything on return. I will not put you into an email list neither. But if you would like to have a discussion on what are the best exam preparation strategies, we can have a discussion around that itself, which can go even, I don't know, you're stuck with formulating your experience into towards the PMP exam. Because, for example, in the past 3 days, I met lots of people. They all wanted to go CAPM first because they did not realize that they have enough experience to go into a PMP. But PMI now is really embracing and letting lots of people go because they recognize that not everybody's labeled as a project manager who's actually been doing project manager job. So I would say that is definitely something which is now on the radar.